Hey, what's up everybody? In this video, I'm going to show you Masquerade Maleficent at skill level 4, 5, and 6. Now, I do have another video that covers Masquerade Maleficent at skill level 1, 2, and 3. So if you're interested in seeing that, I will go over the strategy and all of the stats. It does also cover a little bit more about skill level 4, 5, and 6, but there is a game demonstration for the lower skill level. So if you're interested in seeing that, definitely check it out at the end of this video. For this video, I will focus on skill level 4, 5, and 6. And between the three different skill levels, the major difference is the range and also how long the ability will last. So the skill range, what that is in reference to is the amount of thorns that gets created. And let me actually read you the ability description really quickly. Masquerade Maleficent is from the Sleeping Beauty series, and the ability description is starts fever time and traps connected and surrounded zooms in thorns. So what usually happens when you activate the ability is you will be able to connect chains. So it could be even as little as 3. And anything that you connect will turn into thorns. But if you have a higher skill level, what happens is that the surrounding zooms will also become thorns. So the higher the skill level, the more it's going to impact surrounding zooms. And by the way, if you guys would like to see more Tsum Tsum content just like this and really like the tips and tricks, please consider subscribing to this channel. It will really help me out. Alright, so back to Masquerade Maleficent. At skill level 4, the skill radius is going to be large and the ability will last 5.5 seconds. Skill level 5, it's going to last 6 seconds. And the skill range is going to be extra large. And finally, at skill level 6, the skill range is going to be extra large. And it's going to last 6.5 seconds. So essentially, every time you level up the ability once, you're going to get an extra 0.5 second. And sometimes it doesn't matter, but when you're thinking about between skill level 1 and skill level 6, it does make a major difference. Now overall, I think Masquerade Maleficent is a really good Tsum to use. If you're one of those players that have a phone that really has a high frame rate, what I mean by that is like there's no lagging, there's no glitching, because when that happens, it slows down your thorn making. Another thing is if you are a player that can connect chains really quickly and can spot them really quick, then perfect. This is a really good Tsum for you, especially at level 6. There are different strategies when it comes to using Masquerade Maleficent though. So at the lower skill level, you do want to try to chain them in different sections. But at the higher skill level, because the skill radius is so big, that you actually want to make a really long chain diagonally, vertically, sideways, try to get across the screen as much as possible. That's actually the most efficient. Now what I also want to show you guys is a side-by-side comparison of all these abilities active at the same time. So let's take a look. So when you activate her ability, she will put on her green mask and then essentially the ability will start. Try to spot where the long chains are before you even activate her ability, so that way you could get started right away. And one thing to note here is that you'll know if you are still in fever or not in fever, but in your ability time or not, by looking at the top area of your screen. You'll see that there are thorns where the timer is, where the pause button is. There are little thorns. So if you look at skill level 4, the ability is about to end very soon here, and you'll see that that one's gonna shut off first, and then skill level 5 is gonna shut off technically 0.5 seconds later, and then skill level 6. Now this is slowed down by 40% or so. So definitely this is going to be a lot slower. But if you look at the strategy between skill level 4 and 6, you'll notice that I do use a different strategy. For skill level 4, I'm trying to connect multiple chains to make one big burst. Whereas for skill level 6, I just made a really long one and burst them. So if you do get lucky and get a really big chain, like for example there, like at skill level 4, I was able to get a chain of 34. Then go ahead and burst it. You don't necessarily need to get the entire screen fully thorned up, I guess you could say, before you pop it. And the reason for that is you want to balance out the amount of time spent making the thorns as well as making the longest chain. So I think that if you make a chain that's longer than 30 plus, go ahead and just burst them, because it's going to yield you a good amount of coins. But if you struggle to make chains like I did there at skill level 5, then you might need to make a couple more chains before you actually burst them. To get the results that you want to earn a lot of coins. But actually, Masquerade Maleficent is pretty decent for a score as well on top of the coins. I think the coins isn't necessarily super impressive. So overall, for Masquerade Maleficent, I do think that overall it's a pretty good Tsum. It's not necessarily a Tsum that's going to yield you a crazy amount of coins. Well, I guess like if you are a really good player where you could make chains really fast and spot them really fast and have the right equipment, then maybe this is a Tsum for you. Let me know in the comments below what is like your average coin count when you're using Masquerade Maleficent, and also at which skill level. I'm interested in see what other players are getting. But I think that it's a pretty average Tsum when it comes to getting coins, somewhat below par. But for this type of Tsum where you need to make a long chain to get coins, I think it's actually okay. Not that great. But what is somewhat impressive is its ability to get a pretty decent amount of score. So at skill level 4, I was able to get 7.4 million. At skill level 5, I got 7.5, and at skill level 6, I got 9.2. So skill level 6, I definitely got a lot higher score, but maybe that could be due to just having better pair Tsums. So that doesn't necessarily paint a good picture. But you see there, I was able to get 800 XP as well. So this is a really good character if you are trying to get your main profile to your maximum of 500 XP, or level 500 I mean, then it's a good option. So here is a overview of all 6 of the levels that I have. So between skill level 1 through skill level 6, you can see the gradual incline, but there is a big jump between skill level 3 and skill level 4. And I think that has to do with practice and also the strategy that I implemented. Like my other video that I mentioned for the lower skill level, I did try to go from left and right and then burst them. So I did have to make 2 separate chains before I popped it, whereas for skill level 4, there were times where I got lucky where I didn't need to make a second chain before I burst the bubble, or burst the thorns I mean. So sometimes you get lucky and sometimes you don't. It really comes down to how your screen is fully set up. So let me know in the comments below if this is a Tsum that you are going to get or not, or if you're going to try to spend all of your coins to get. I think if you ask me, I don't necessarily think that you should be spending all of your coins to try to get Masquerade Maleficent. There's definitely going to be better Tsums out there for you to get a higher score, and also better Tsums out there where you can get a lot more coins. So I don't think that you should be spending all of your resources to try to get them. However, I do really like the animation though, so if you are someone who is playing this game because you want to collect Tsums that have a really cool animation, or is just a collector, then just get one, and maybe if you change your mind later, you could invest your skill tickets into it. I do think that the sound for this particular Tsum is pretty cool though, like when the thorns get made, it makes that whooshing sound, which I think is pretty cool. So there are different aspects of this Tsum that's really good and very aesthetic, but when it comes to functionality, not necessarily the best. Not necessarily the greatest for missions either. I think the only feature here is that it starts at fever time, but so does the other Masquerade Tsum. So if you already have one of the other ones, then you could probably stop. I wouldn't necessarily recommend getting Masquerade Maleficent. Alright guys, so that's pretty much it for this video. I hope that you guys found this video helpful in learning a little bit more about Masquerade Maleficent. And if you guys did, let me know in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel. And as always, thank you guys so much for watching.